was that 15, 18 minutes knowing that one of you guys is going home? How was that time?
It was really emotional.
Yeah.
Really, really emotional. So we spent about 15 minutes just talking, wife and kids, our time in the game. And then we spent 3 minutes before the last 10-second countdown kind of smack talking each other.
Okay.
Right? Trying to get the other one kind of like, yo, like Mikey, I love you, bro, but like I'm sending you home. Like I love playing this game with you, but like you're not winning. I am gonna send you home, brother. Like I love you, but like you're gonna get to see those kids earlier than you thought. Like we were having
the game came back in for you guys.
That kind of conversation, because again, like we had the discussion when we first aligned that I'm gonna take you out, you're gonna take me out. So it was kind of poetic that this became that moment.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Just in Time for Storytime Squid Games edition. I'm your host, Justin Stephen Ford, author of the diverse picture book, I See Me. And as you guys know, this is a platform and a resource for authors and children's books, positivity, diversity, and inclusion. But I had an amazing opportunity to go on Netflix, Squid Games, The Challenge, and I met so many amazing people. And as you know, we're all about telling inspiring and diverse stories. So that's what we're doing today. So I decided, let me bring some of my amazing friends on the show so that they can tell us what happened on the show, what didn't happen on the show, and everything in between. So without further ado, you're just in time for story time. So who do we have today? The man, the myth, the legend himself. I'm going to bring him in, player 87, Kyle Christensen, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, what's up, brother? What's going on?
It's good to see you.
You too, man. You too.
So what y'all don't know, and what we're going to talk about, Kyle became my best friend, my brother in life, but best friend in the show for sure. Like our bond was
unbreakable.
It was automatic. It was instant. Like by far, Kyle is that he's my guy. So I'm glad that you decided to give me an exclusive out here. Thank you.
Got you, man. Absolutely.
So let's get into it, man. Everybody wants to know. So were you a fan of Squid Games, the original show? How did this all start for you?
Yeah, man, I loved the show. I watched it probably 3 times. Just to pick, I want to pick up on different Easter eggs, follow the storyline more in detail, look at different things. But yeah, dude, I loved the show. And then I saw it promoted on Instagram. And I told my wife, I was like, yo, I'm going to apply to this show. And she said, absolutely not. Because she has seen the original series, and she goes, they're going to traffic you, they're going to kill you in London. Like, she goes,
talk about that for a quick second. I was like, what if this is like a setup for a real situation?
She goes, this is the same thing, but because they're not, like, you already saw the show, like, they're not going to play games to get you over there. They're going to dangle the reality TV carrot and try and get you over there.
Smart, yeah.
But, you know, we were on vacation. We had a couple drinks in our system, so I was like, yeah, you know, I'm going to do it and then tell her after. You know, better to ask for forgiveness than permission type situation. But yeah, man, so the rest is history. I mean, you know what's going on. We'll talk about it a little bit.
We'll talk about it. Well, before we get into that, you just mentioned wife, kids. Tell everybody a little bit about Kyle, because we see a little bit on TV, but like, who is Kyle?
Kyle is a business owner and a family man.
Yeah.
Before anything else, I married my high school sweetheart. I've been with her since I was 16 years old. 26 now, so we're going on almost 10 years this year. I have 3 beautiful kids, Riley, who's 8, Harper, who's 4, Colton, who's 2, so little nuggets, and a real estate company in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
What's it called? Shout it out.
Blue Realty of Fort Lauderdale.
That's it. We talked to Jesse the other day. Y'all check out Jesse's interview, but he's also, they've partnered up, which is really cool. Take it. Florida.
Yeah, we met in the show. He lived in Arkansas and decided to make the life change to come down to Fort Lauderdale.
There you go. By the way, your kids are the cutest. Like Kyle's family is like picture perfect. It's like it's heartwarming to see.
But I'm 4.5, but you know.
You make it look good, man. You make it look good. So okay, so you apply for the show in secrecy on vacation. What happened next?
I mean, it was what it was when I applied. I honestly didn't think I was going to get anything from it, and neither did my wife. So she didn't really think it was that big of a deal. She was like, it's a big show. You're not going to get it. You're no one special.
Nice.
But,
it's cool.
Yeah, right. But I'd say probably 4 or 5 months later, I got an email saying that they wanted to talk to me more, and it still didn't feel real at that point.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just kind of like, like they wanted to hear from the crazy guy who had a little too much to drink on vacation.
Got too much to hear.
Yeah, but it turned into another one and another one and another one. Different channels of people I was talking to until I finally got that congratulations email.
Now, did you apply? Because they had an initial casting call and then like another one. So I think I applied at the second one, like in September. Do you remember like around the time?
Yeah, I was in June. So it was
you were one of the first.
Yeah, and I didn't hear back until October.
Got you. And then they told you officially you were going in like what? November, December?
End of December.
December.
Yeah, they gave me like 3 weeks notice.
And then we headed out in January. Okay. So you get the call. They're like, Kyle Christensen, you're about to be part of the 456. Do you train? Do you prepare? Or are you just still like, it's not real to you yet?
I honestly didn't know what to train or prepare for.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I expected them to take a lot of the games from the original show, but I knew there was going to be a lot of twists and turns. Yeah. And based on the original show, not a lot of it was athletic, right? So I didn't put any less time into the gym than I already was. But I did spend a lot more time doing puzzle games on my phone or doing like critical thinking type stuff to try and sharpen my mind, because I knew that was going to play some type of part in my gameplay. So
sure. Did you have a strategy of like how you wanted to show up in the game?
Absolutely. The strategy that I wanted to do, I actually did, and I executed it. Honestly, I could not have executed it more perfectly.
Okay.
My strategy going into it was to keep it super low key, have a small group of people that I can keep close to me. You were my day one. I think we met in a hotel before we even
talk about it.
Went to the first set. But yeah, you were my day one, and I kind of let you in on, like, we're gonna ride this out together, and I want to form like a tight little group that we can use to jump around to different people and different alliance members, but like we're that core group.
Yeah.
And that was my strategy going into it, and obviously playing a low key game, using the alliance to help propel me with getting as little blood on my hands as possible, and then show up when I had to show up.
Sure. And you did that, man. You definitely did that. Okay, so let's talk about it. So we fly out to London, right? In the middle of January, it's freezing in London, and there's a period where we're quarantined for about a week in a hotel. How was that for you? Because we know we talked about it, but how was that for you, for everybody watching?
That was tough, man. Along with being away from my family for a week, not doing interactive stuff in the game to keep me occupied. It was a 5-hour time difference, so I was very few opportunities to actually talk to my wife and kids, because when it was their bedtime at home, it was 2 a.m. London time. And on top of all that, I spent my birthday quarantined in the hotel by myself. It was probably the worst part of everything.
Really? So it's so funny because everybody has a different take. I don't remember. I think I was talking to Dan or someone, and he was like, "It was so peaceful to be away from my kids and family."
No, I mean, that was probably the worst part for me, just because I've been a dad since I was 17.
Oh, okay.
So like I've never had to not be around my children or be around my wife, and not only not being with them, but not being able to communicate with them all day, every single day. That was tough. And then spending my 26th birthday alone, that wasn't fun either.
So that's the whole week. We talked about it a little bit. You have security guards everywhere. The food is not great. You're not talking to anyone, outside of, you're not talking to anybody. And then that's for 7 days. So we're in there for about 7 days. The day comes, we have to turn in our phones, turn in our laptops. They hand you your number, 087. How are you feeling around that time? Were you already like mentally drained?
I was mentally ready at that point, but then I got pissed off a few hours later to find out people didn't hand in their phones on time. And
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Right? Oh no, I handed mine in at the end of the day.
I was in the morning. I think I was like an 8:30, 9 a.m. hand-in, like right after breakfast type situation. And then we get to the first game, and people were like, "Oh yeah, I handed in my phone like before I got on the bus." So like they had their phone like all the next day, and I was like, "Yo, like I had to give my phone in the morning and my computer because the TV over there I had like 4 channels." So I was watching Netflix on my laptop, and I had to give that away too. So I was just sitting there twiddling my thumbs all day, running in circles in the freaking hotel room.
Did you practice it all, like red light, green light in your room? Because I look crazy running back and forth.
I think I tried to, and then I was like, "Yo, like I look so dumb right now," like because I had the windows open. I was like, "Yo, like I could see people in the hotel, like they're 100% looking at me, like this guy's stupid." Like,
did you have a view? Because I was looking at a brick wall the entire time.
So I had like a partial view, like you had to look out the window and like hit like that, like a rubberneck it, you know. But I was looking at it, but I was looking straight ahead at an empty warehouse, and then to the right it was a bunch of hotel rooms where I saw other Squid Games cast like doing push-ups.
I know there's Squid Games. The whole hotel was Squid Games. Yeah.
I assumed it was Squid Games cast.
Yeah. So that happens. You hand in your stuff. It's go time. So basically what happened then, y'all, was we early in the morning, maybe like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, we all get on this bus, pitch black outside. We don't know where we're going.
All this shit.
Right. And that's exactly how we were all feeling. Just like that. So we don't know where we're going. And the bus ride had to be what, like 2 hours, 3 hours?
Yeah, about 3 hours.
3 hours. Our bus was silent. The producer lady was like, don't talk. And of course, people are excited. Like, this is the first time. This is all still kind of the first time we're seeing each other. Everybody's sizing each other up. But this is the first time we're able to kind of interact.
Yeah.
On the bus. The bus ride, how are you feeling?
Honestly, I was just kind of getting in my zone. Like, I did not know what to expect.
Right.
So I was trying to get in the mindset of whatever's thrown at me, I'm going to be triumphant over it, whether it's a mental or a physical competition. So the little leg room that I had, I was trying to stay as warm as possible because, again, it was cold as hell outside. And if we were to do something physical where we had to jump straight into it, I didn't want to be – I'm a Florida boy, man. I don't do the cold. So when you throw a Florida boy into 15 degrees Fahrenheit, like I don't play that. So I was staying warm, and then I was talking game with Dash was actually sitting next to me.
Okay.
And I made a little alliance with Dash, not to necessarily play the game with him, but to kind of, if you hear anything, come to me. If I hear anything, come to you type situation.
Okay.
And we kind of did that in the dorms too, which was kind of cool that came to fruition. But
cool. Okay, cool. So your gameplay started before the first game even started.
My gameplay started in the hotel when I met you.
I didn't meet you until after the first game.
No. We met the night we got our tracksuits.
Where?
In the lobby. Remember, we had to go change in our sweatpants because you had a size too small. I had a size too big.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. We didn't talk that much, but that was like, you're right. You were like, man, they gave me an XXL. Like,
yeah, and then we switched it out, and then I said, yo, I'm gonna look for you in the game. I like your energy.
That's right. Okay, it's coming back. This was a year ago. So we get off the bus, and it's the biggest airplane hangar that I've ever seen. And then they walk us all in, and they separate us into like 4 tents, essentially. This was the first time like you're seeing the magnitude of what this game is. I think that's the first time you see 450 people like together in one place, which was wild. So, y'all, we walk into these 4 tents in this big airplane hangar, and they never tell you anything that's going on. Like, you just are always oblivious.
I was still convinced I was being tracked. They took our phones the day before, then they bring us to an airplane hangar that's freezing cold, and they throw us in tents and didn't tell us anything.
Yeah, it was definitely like this could still go left at any moment. Yeah. When's the moment we actually die for real? And so they put these things on us. We don't know what they are. Later to come to find out they are that's what squibs. That's what blows up if you die.
Yeah.
Mine was freaking tight. I couldn't breathe. And then so then they line us all up. We're in those tents for a while. It's freezing. It is. So let's talk about the reports that came out for red light, green light really quick. So we see in the media that people are mad. And I personally feel all the people that are complaining got out in red light, green light. Nobody that made it past red light, green light is complaining. Shout out to Netflix for doing your thing.
Yep.
And I also don't think there was any cheating that went down. What do you think?
I mean, here's my take on red light, green light, right? So I can't speak on the production side of things, right? So I'm not going to sit here and say it wasn't rigged. I'm not going to sit here and say that these people weren't cheated out. But what I can say is that people that were in the dorms, their mindset was very, very different from the people who got out in red light, green light. Because I did have those conversations in the tent, and obviously I had many conversations in the dorms.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those people that are complaining, I feel that they feel cheated, rightfully so, but I also think that they were less about playing the game and more about just trying to get their 15 minutes of fame, right? So they didn't take it as serious as the ones that made it to the dorm.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that maybe did take it serious, they just didn't have what it took. I mean, it wasn't an easy competition. It was like 8.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It was freezing cold in there. Your feet were numb to the point where you felt like you were standing on balls.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't easy, right? So, like, I understand their frustration, but on the same token, don't take credit away from the ones that actually went beast mode in that game. They put all they had into it, and they accomplished what they went there to do. A lot of us obviously went there to be on television. Like that was the point of signing up. But the motives behind it, like the reason I signed up was because it was a reality show.
Okay.
The reason I did it was for my wife and kids. I didn't do it to be on a reality show. I did it so I could try and win money to make my life, my wife, my kids' lives better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the ones that made it, that had that dog in them to actually like they were there for a bigger purpose than just being on a TV show.
I agree. That's really well said, because you had to have something different inside of you to get through. You had to be a different kind of person. Everybody who made it through red light, green light, in my opinion, has the strongest mental fortitude alive.
And that's what it was. It was all mental. It was not a physical competition.
Yeah.
You had to have a little bit of endurance to withstand the 8 to 9 hour game.
Yeah.
But it was a mental strength of pushing your body through those limits.
My God.
It was not focusing on the clock. It was not focusing on the drones flying overhead. It was not focused on the people passing out next to you. It was not focusing on the people getting eliminated next to you. It was just being zoned in like a racehorse with the blinders on and just playing your game and not. Again, you had to be a dog to win that game. That's why so many people dropped.
Yeah, that's why I love my boy Kyle. Kyle is like so intentional and direct and on it. So, okay, so we all walk into, let's run it back just a little bit. We all walk into, we didn't know what the first game was, to be honest, right? So we all walk into the first set, which is red light, green light. What are you thinking? Because my mind was blown.
I expected red light, green light to be a flagship game. I didn't expect it to be like the main game because I thought that was too obvious.
Okay.
Right? So like I had like a inkling of an idea that it was gonna be one of those flagship games. It was gonna either be, in my opinion, was that dachi where you throw the bag?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was either gonna be just like a massive game of dachi, or it was gonna be red light, green light, or it was gonna be glass bridge, right? And to start with.
Oh, that'd have been a plot twist, yeah.
So how they broke us up for a lot of these games into groups, I thought they were going to do something similar like that for Glass Bridge. And it's like, yo, pick a group. We're going to break into 10 groups of 40.
Sure.
And we're going to have these 10 people pick their tiles that they're going to jump on.
Okay.
Right? So like that was like out of the box type stuff, right? Because I'm like, how can I think about these original games and put a twist to it to expect the twist?
Yeah, nothing you ever imagined was right. Like we probably never got it right. Were you taken aback by like the magnitude of like the set, like the details, like how grand it was?
It just felt super surreal.
Yeah.
And it was very hard to process until after every game. It was very difficult to process until after you went through it.
Yeah.
Right? And you start thinking back, you're like, damn, like red light, green light. Like that was like a football field and a half. Like that was ginormous.
The doll was huge, and she looked little from where we were. Homegirl was thick. Like she looked little from where we were. So you walk in, Kyle, you know, we do our little warm-ups and stuff. You can see everybody's talking strategy on how they did red light, green light. So where did you start? Were you in the front, the back, the middle? Because I never saw you doing red light, green light at all.
Yeah, I was in the back.
Because I was in the back too.
So I thought it was going to be like easy. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought it was going to be take off, stand for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and then take off, right? Yeah. So I was like, oh, like I'm in shape, I'm athletic, like this is cake. I got this. I'm gonna stay in the back so I don't have people bumping into me if, you know, when we're frozen. Very, very stupid mistake. Very stupid mistake. My 5-minute hold thought process turned into 45-minute holds.
So what he's talking about, y'all kind of see it on TV, but not really, is essentially between each round, she would sing, she would do her thing, and which would be 4 seconds, maybe 5 seconds, and then we'd have to hold a position. Y'all seen me talk about it. Hold the position for 30 minutes, 40 minutes at times, perfectly still. So if you're watching this interview, just stand up the whole interview and don't move. I like at all. When I say don't move at all.
And that's the thing that I feel like a lot of people aren't going to understand, right? Because Netflix couldn't kill us like they did in the show. So they had to take it a step further and physically make it a lot more physically demanding. You know, so having us hold that position for 30, 40 minutes every time with only allowing us 5 seconds of sprint time on a football field and a half, like that's not an easy feat. You have 456 athletes, people just in like incredible shape, hikers, runners. They were dropping like flies because
right away,
right out the gate, man. Right out the gate, there was who was standing next to me. I think he was like a college football player or a college basketball player, super big dude, super in shape, collegiate athlete. He was like, I think, first or second round out. You know what I'm saying? Because that first 45-minute hold, like that was probably the worst. The first one, and I'd say probably like 6 hours in.
The last one.
Like a little more than halfway through. Well, I was the second to last group to cross. Like it took me a minute.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So I started at the very end, the very back. So after like the first round of her singing, I wasn't even over the line. I was still behind the line. Like, so that happened. And I know very quickly you had to change up your technique after that first hold because we didn't know what to expect and we didn't know we were going to have to hold it that long. So I think a lot of people were just stuck in super weird positions. You know what I mean? It was, and then who said it? Teo, I think, because Teo was the very first person to finish. But he was like, as an athlete, you know, to go from cold, your muscles are cold, to having to go to a full out sprint, to going cold again. Like, it's physically like terrible on your body. Yeah,
absolutely. And the first position that I held was like a normal, like running position, right? It was like run, freeze. And I was holding that for like 45 minutes.
Like that.
And like this with, you can't see my feet right now, but my feet are like perched up like this.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah, so like my front leg was like about to give out, so I had to change up my strategy completely.
What'd you change it up to?
So the rest of the way through, it didn't matter if I moved fast, if I moved slow. I kept my hands in my pocket because the sensors didn't pick you up if you moved your fingers or your hands while they were concealed, right?
Gotcha.
I put my hands in my pocket. I had hand warmers in there, so it number one kept me occupied.
Same. I play with the little beads, and like they had like little beads.
Yeah, so it kept me occupied. It kept me moving, so my whole body didn't tighten up. Like it kept some type of blood flow going. But I just kept my hands in my jacket pocket clean, and I mean, dude, I was a cheerleader my whole life, so I'm used to walking around tight and clean, and you know what I'm saying.
So you didn't even mention that. So Kyle, so I call Kyle the human onion. So when we're in the game, Kyle is like, you meet Kyle, and it's like, oh, he's cool, whatever. But Kyle has layers, right? Like he's like, I used to cheerlead. I used to do this. I used to do that. Like I got a family. I'm like, Kyle, who are you? What? So anyway, back to the game. We're doing it. I did the same thing. I know for me, and I keep saying this story, I counted myself out from the very beginning, which I'll never do again. I learned how mentally strong I was. But I tell people it's crazy because people literally are like dropping next to you. And like you start to work with the people around you silently to like they become your support system. Where I was it like that for you?
It was, but I wasn't there for it. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't, like I wasn't trying. Like you're my competition. Like I'm not trying to boost you up. You know what I'm saying? Like you could pass out too, please. Like
meanwhile, I'm like, you can do it, guys. Everybody can do it.
Like people are on me. I'm like, yo, like drop. Like it's okay. Like I'll forgive you if you get eliminated. It's fine. You can stop. You know what I'm saying? So like, but like everyone was like hyping each other up for the most part. There in the beginning there were some people like trying to like sabotage each other, but I just wasn't there for it. I was quiet the whole time. I didn't talk to no one. I was just zoned in, like I said before. I was just focused, and I was just repeating, my kids' names and my wife's name in my head just to like keep me motivated, and counting to see how long I'm standing there just to pass the time. But no, I wasn't there for all that, man.
I didn't look at that doll once. I remember for me, maybe after the second hour, your body is completely checked out. And so that's when like your brain has to kick in. And like Kyle was saying earlier, like it's a different kind of game. Like it's not, if you're cocky, if you are in it for the wrong reasons, it just weeded all those people out. Like I remember there was an MMA chick and she was huge and she was like the first to go out.
Yep.
There was a guy in there who was like, he was an ex something pro and he like was cocky. He wasn't talking to nobody. He was like, it's about to be cake. Second out. Like
that was the problem, is a lot of people went in big-headed and they underestimated what they actually had to do, as opposed to really analyzing what Netflix is capable of.
Yeah. And people were passing out. Like, that is true. I mean, I didn't know that if you stand too long with your legs locked out, you pass out. So you have people dropping. That all did happen, but it's $4 million on the line. So
it's the name of the game. I mean, if you thought you were going to come to a Netflix production and it be a camera, need you money,
So you said you were the second to last to finish. So you saw the line go out where like 40 people went out at once. You saw it?
They all crossed the line and just
So I finished the round before that. So I remember being out of the area and hearing it. I heard. So what was it like seeing that?
I think everyone was just kind of at that point restless, and like it was more, was that a technical issue? Is ours gonna pop now and they're just gonna automatically eliminate us? Like, there was a lot going through everyone's head. I found out after I ended up crossing the line, but in the moment it was just like, oh shit, what happened? And are we next? Was kind of what was running through my mind.
Yeah, I remember I got out I finished the round before that. And had I not finished, I would have gotten out because they told us, like, if you get close to the line, don't push it. Like, stop at the line because both of your feet needed to be over.
Yeah, and that's what happened. Everyone that got popped only had 1 foot over the line.
Yeah. And so they had cameras, they had adjudicators, like everybody looking at all this stuff. So it was pretty crazy. So you make it over. What was that like? Because I was crying, I was happy, I was sad, I was exhausted, all the emotions at once.
I just wanted to sit down and feel my feet again. That was it. I lost feeling of my feet an hour and a half in. So
you're like, do I have feet still? Because I remember one lady's hand was on the ground and it was completely blue.
Yeah, so that was another fear I had. Was, do I have frostbite? So like I was so scared of that because I couldn't feel my feet. And I sat down, and after like 45 minutes, I still couldn't feel my feet.
Yeah, no.
So they brought us back to the tents and the heaters, and I took my socks and shoes off, and my feet were like bluish.
Were they?
Yeah, I was like, oh man, this isn't good.
looking good.
I put him in front of the heater. Thankfully,
Okay.
the feeling came back. But,
Yeah. Okay.
No, I just.
So, congratulations on red light, green light. We do it. That eliminated like almost 300. Almost.
Yeah, we were 456 down to 193.
Yeah, that's what it eliminated. And so, shout out to first everybody who participated. So no shade on anybody. Shout out to everybody who participated, but everybody. Go ahead, sir. Everybody who made it after red light, green light. Like, I think we all learned a super valuable lesson in life. I know for me, I learned that I can do anything I put my mind to. Like, I can't imagine anything harder than that. So then there was a little debacle. So I feel like in my mind, I remember us all getting on these buses after. And that was the very first time. So we had a little bit of an alliance. That was the first time I met Melissa and Rob. Yeah. And I swear you were on our bus behind them, but you say you weren't.
I don't know. It's all
a blur.
It's all very like pieced together, right? Because there was a lot of bus rides to a lot of different places.
True.
I do remember sitting behind you on one bus ride where you were with Melissa and Rob. That I do remember, actually.
Okay. Yeah. So after we had this long bus ride back to the hotel, and so the main thing I think that I remember about meeting Kyle, it was myself, Kyle, and Perna. Shout out to my boy Perna.
Yep.
But there was no food really. I remember having some Milky Way minis and like some Doritos maybe. Yep. And we were all sitting down, just exhausted and hungry. And I remember all of us, you, myself, and Perna, just kind of meeting. And I remember in that moment, I was like, this guy is cool. I don't know him, but I know I like him. And I know that I want to do this game with him. And then the next morning, we wake up super early, get back on buses. And they take us to in my opinion, they take us to Squid Games. Like, they take us to the dorms for the first time. Now, once you enter into the dorm, that's it until you're dead. We're not leaving nowhere. There's no more hotels. We're in the dorms. Talk about the first time you walk into the dorm.
I mean, it was surreal. It was just like I expected, but I still didn't expect it. You know what I'm saying? Like you can envision yourself playing in like the Squid Game set from watching the show, but then once you're actually in it and you look up and you see bunks 5 high, and you see the
money in it,
and then you see the stage with hidden doors, and it was nuts. The cameras in the toilet was kind of a little.
Yeah, there's cameras in there, in the shower, in the toilet.
Yeah, that was a little much for me. I don't think I went to the bathroom for like 4 days. The first 4 days, nah.
I think we took our first shower like next to each other.
We had some of our best conversations in the shower room.
So we did. We're gonna talk about that in a minute, but we so we're in there, and I think we linked up pretty early on. I think because we had that moment outside, and we came back and we met in the dorms. And I think we were like glued together ever since that moment. I remember we got our bed. You were like, yo, where you sleeping? I was like, let's get back. We got back in the corner. We found a little corner where we could see out and see everything that was going on, but it was tucked away. And then I think we met Melissa.
Yeah, Melissa, Rob,
and then Dylan came on over.
Rob brought in Dylan.
Mm-hmm. And then Rob brought in Dylan. And that was our initial group. And then it was called The Corner because we were in the corner, because that's a great name.
You thought of the name.
Yeah, that was us. That was The Corner.
Yeah.
The Corner. And we had a pretty good, like you said, you had a plan to find a small crew. And it was a diverse crew. We had big, small, white, black. Like, it had every element. Smart. We had a good group of people.
Yeah.
But you and I were it was like we were the alliance within the alliance.
Absolutely. Yeah. We were kind of running it without
running it
ourselves on that pedestal. Right? Like, we wanted to bring in people who didn't want to run an alliance, but they wanted to run the game.
Yeah.
Like they didn't want to tell people what to do. They wanted to work with people, giving input from every aspect, and then having actual decisions. So there was no power hunger. There was no animosity towards any other players, because we were all there with the same objective, the same thought process, with the same goal in mind.
Yeah, and we all genuinely liked each other. I think we all genuinely just got along. Like I said, Kyle was because I was going through so much at that time with anxiety. We were just on the same page a lot of times. Yeah. And like, I mean, there's so much going on, y'all. Like my anxiety, like I was one day, we were talking, one day we were like in a cloud. I was like, it doesn't even feel, I can't like focus in conversations. I can't do any of that.
I mean, it was tough, man. I mean, you had anxiety coming over you, and then you're in an element where you never know what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. You don't know what time it is. You don't know when your next meal's coming. So there was a lot of lack of control that created a lot of suspicion and panic and anxiety and paranoia. And, and you're playing this game with a bunch of people who are ultimately there to get you out.
Get you out. You know? I agree. So we're in there for a couple of days. Like we sleep together, which I know I slept terrible the first night. I think you said you slept great. And then I slept terrible. We wake up the next day, the guards come out and bring us like oatmeal and boiled chicken. And like some people got more oatmeal than others, but that was like, we're in this game. So we were in there for a couple of days. And then they would pull people to do chores, right? Yeah. And we're just like, oh, there's nothing. And then we had that surprise elimination with, is it 200 or something like that?
Yeah.
And I think for me, that's when I was like, oh, you can't trust anything that happens. Like nothing is what it looks like. Nothing is what it seems.
Yeah. And the craziest part was you wanted to be as involved in the game as possible. And that first elimination, what was it? Was the phone, right? That was
that first elimination was like, apparently people went to do a chore and they voted. You could either save someone or vote somebody out. Remember that guy?
Yeah. And then the phone one was the second one.
That was second.
Yeah, but like you want to be there to like experience the game, right? Like you want to be as indulged as possible. Like you don't want to just be there just to be a filler person or just say you went there and have nothing to show for it. Like you want to. Like everyone was there to make moves, right? And then when they threw in that twist, it just kind of was like, damn, like now the more involved you get, the bigger target is painted on your back now with the other players, or the bigger chance you run of getting out on pure unluckiness.
Yeah. And I've been talking to a bunch of players, and some people say, one girl got eliminated just because the other person didn't know her. One person got eliminated because too many people knew them. Like, so it was a very fine line that you had.
That's why this game, and I feel like a lot of people didn't really play that way, but I feel like that's why this game is such a social game.
Yeah.
Because you have to be able to maneuver through your gameplay with building as many connections as possible, being as genuine, coming off as genuine as possible without also coming off as a threat. Yeah. And because there wasn't a lot of physicality in the game, you really had to be careful with who you spoke to and what you spoke about, because there was people, even in our alliance, that would take things that we were saying and they'd run it to other people to gain their trust, to get their information back to us.
Yeah.
Right? So it was very, very important. Because
what happened?
It was very, very important to kind of put yourself in a position of trust with as many people as possible, but also not really talk game to as many people as you are conversating with. Like you really talk game.
Kyle was super good at it, because I remember I would talk stuff. He'd be like, "Yo, Justin, not here," or "Yo, Justin, let's talk about something else." Or, "Yo, Justin, we talking about game too much." Like Kyle was really, really good at it. And so me and Kyle, we would walk around together. We get our food together. We go wash up together, like everything. And I just knew Kyle, I could trust him. Like I just knew that, sometimes you just meet people and I'm like, it was all genuine. And we were just like, I think he was missing his family. So about me is I had just really accepted who I was before the game. I had lost a normal relationship with my family. And so I remember the crew, me like opening up and telling everybody about that. And Kyle was one of the first people I told about who I really was and what I was. And Kyle was just so warm and accepting about it. So then,
baby, all love.
it was all love. Like Kyle was just like, I'm here for you no matter what. So then I'll never forget the night that it was nighttime, and Kyle and I, we were strategizing in private whenever we could. So we sneak out, we tiptoe. The bathroom was like, the set was so big, the bathroom was like 7 minutes away to walk to it. Like,
yeah. You walk through 2 different doors, 4 different staircases.
The bathroom was upstairs. It was a year away. We're like trying to open doors, not wake up people. Sidebar, sleeping around 100 plus people is wild. If you've never done it, don't recommend it. So where you might see some of this, but Kyle and I are sitting in the showers.
Yeah, in the shower room.
So we're sitting in the shower room, and this is a moment. So we're sitting in the shower room, and we're practicing marbles. There's a game that you can play, like a mathematical way to play marbles where you can win every time. So, Kyle and I were trying to play it. We got like paper towel or something and made little marble tissue balls, and we're playing. And so we're normal. Nobody's in there. Everybody's asleep. And then who walks in?
TJ. Oh, the one and only.
This is a scene that like is not shown in its full glory, and I hate that it's not. So we're gonna tell you this is what y'all did not see.
It was a crazy movie, so I'm actually like it was very. Go ahead, man. It was.
No, I want you to add. I'm gonna set it up for you. So TJ walks in, we're talking, and so instantly we try to like throw the marbles off the bench and like act like we're not playing a game, like we just chilling, we're not doing nothing strategic at all. And then TJ comes in looking sad. Now, mind you, check out my interview with TJ, by the way. But mind you, TJ is 6'8", like 6'7", 6'8", loud mouth, big personality, and I tried to shy away from that initially because he had just a lot of attention on him. So he comes in, and also TJ was very cocky in the beginning, and TJ was like the last person to make it over the line, like the last. So I think that was humble pie for him. So he came in, and the reality is we all trauma bonded over red light, green light. And so I think we were all just innately closer to each other. And he looks emotional. And so we're like, yo, man, what's going on? And then you take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, it was just very, like, we just got into like a really heartfelt conversation. I was homesick from my wife and kids. He was homesick from his wife and kids. You were going through your situation, and we all just kind of broke down and really just kind of let everything out. We put everything on the table with no walls, no borders up, and we really just kind of got to know each other on more of a personal level, taking the game out of the equation. And it bonded us closer. And then me and TJ, later on in the game, like that particular conversation came back up. Because he was going through it another night, I was going through it another night. So it really just, it was bigger than the game, right? And it was just one of those conversations that stuck with me personally through the whole game and after. And it was also nice knowing that there was people going through similar things that I was, and I was okay opening up about it to you and to other people in our alliance, and he that night didn't have anyone to have a conversation with. So the fact that he was open to opening up to you and me about it, like that was again on its own.
It was such a human moment. Like it was a cool moment because it was like you have 3 different nationalities, 3 different experiences, and we're all men. And I think men, are taught to be strong and tough. And I think a lot of times, I don't have kids, but for you and TJ, y'all are used to providing, used to having to take care of everything. And the only thing you can take care of in this situation is yourself.
Yeah.
A lot of people have never had to do, you know what I mean? You always can give that. So it was very real. I think all the emotions you all saw, you had 3 grown men crying, like back there, teared up, and just opening up to people about stuff we've never even talked about before. TJ talked about his son being gay. I talked about, losing my parents because of that and different things. And just, it was very much strangers yet coming together and just people being there for you. and supporting you. It was a cool moment. And like that was probably my favorite moment in the show was with you, man.
It was definitely the one that stuck with me the most.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was beautiful. So we do that. We go back. The producer comes in. She's like, y'all need to go to sleep because something's happening.
Y'all got
y'all gotta go to sleep. And like, it was funny. And it was also funny because I forgot we were on a game show for a second during that. And all of a sudden I hear player 154. Can you turn your mic around? I was like, oh,
they missed all of it.
I'm like, dang, that was good TV. Like,
all right, Kyle, TJ, stop crying. Take it from the top. Let's go.
And then, like, so we go back to sleep. We go back, whatever. Wake up the next morning. These are long days, by the way. And so, again, the thing that people don't see, and we talk about it, is that, you know, you watch these shows like Love is Blind and The Circle, and you're like, how do people get so close so fast? I was one of them. But when all you have is each other, and you've gone through crazy things together, I think as humans, it bonds us. And like Kyle has stuck with me forever. Like he doesn't, I mean, he knows that, but like, you know what I mean? Like you open up in a way that you never, it was wild how that happened.
I mean, you build a different type of relationship.
Yeah.
Like the bond that you and I have, like we would still be friends if we didn't do the show together, but it would just not be on this level.
It got deep fast, very fast.
Very quick. And like what I know about you, what you know about me, the love I have for you, the respect I have for you, it's magnified on such a larger scale because of what we experienced together.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like we went through war together. And it's, or like, I imagine it's like if you, fraternity type situation or like just anything that's bonding, like it was
that's what was built.
Yeah, exactly. A little brotherhood situation. So we do that. We wake up the next morning. You know, there's long days, and then we walk through a staircase. So y'all see the staircase scene multiple times. That was cool to film. A long day.
50-something takes.
Yeah, can we run that? Can we run that again? And most stuff wasn't rerun. Like once things were done, it wasn't like, can y'all do that again or say that differently? That wasn't really done.
Yeah. And a lot of people are going to think that a lot of the conversations were scripted, that a lot of this was all real. It was all genuine. The emotions were real. The conversations were real. The intent behind what everyone was kind of planning in their gameplay, that was all real.
Yeah. Now they might say, hey, have this conversation right here.
Yeah, that's the only thing production did. They would come in and be like, hey, we heard a brief part of that conversation. It's a little loud in this corner. Can you continue over here?
Yeah.
And they would relocate us.
Yeah. They wouldn't start from the top or
Yeah, they wouldn't be like, all right, well, you were talking about, you know, your gameplay and what you think is going to be next. So why don't you go over here and say, you know, you think it's going to be this and why? Like that didn't happen. It was all genuine reactions, genuine conversations, genuine thought processes. There was just so many cameras and so many mics that a lot of these conversations were picked up from the jump, and the ones that weren't were just relocated to another area where it could be heard more clear.
Kyle's giving the real today. And one thing I want to say, a lot of people are like, but there's cameras. So this is not 2005 where people got cameras on like their shoulders. There are real cameras just everywhere. Like there's not people walking around with cameras. There's not a camera crew like walking around. So I think
sensor cameras.
Yeah. Cameras are just, and they're everywhere where you can't see, but then there's like, you know, like security looking cameras, but you get so used to them. Like you let your guard, I think a lot of people are going to be surprised how they're portrayed because it's just like, maybe the first day you're like, this is TV, but that quickly goes out of your head. Like
you forget that real quick.
Yeah, you forget you're on TV. And so what people are saying is how they really feel. I don't think anyone's acting for the most part. Maybe one or two people, but
they didn't stick around long.
They didn't stick around long. Exactly. So Dalgona happened. So we walk into the White Room for the very first time. And, you know, our alliance was strong. So we were all kind of together at that point. We were all on the line. Y'all saw what happened in the White Room. I think Kyle and I were together the whole time. Like, Kyle and I would, like, sing songs and make up stuff. And, like, we entertained each other pretty well. But, you know, we were talking, and it was just good. I was like, bro, are you spinning? I am spinning. I am dizzy, yes. Okay. So we all had a strategy for Cookie. We know we all got the darn triangle, which is great for y'all. Yep. And we go in. Tell us about kind of how it felt the first time walking into the sandbox that was Cookie.
It was it was surreal because like you watch this on television and then you're actually like there now doing it.
Yeah.
So after I got over kind of the euphoric feeling of like, wow, this is freaking
this is a huge playground.
Yeah, crazy. My kids would love this. You know, the freaking slide in the sand pit. It was now trying to figure out the best place to be and the best way to kind of position my tin because I didn't want any outside factor messing with the cookie or messing with the tin placement. So as soon as we were able to move around and find our spot, I found different ways to lay, different ways to sit, different ways to
adjusting. Yeah.
Yeah, because number one, you wanted to be comfortable so you weren't moving, you don't slip and break the cookie. Number two, you wanted to make sure that you weren't figuring out how to start cutting it when you had to cut it. So, you had to kind of play around in the sand with your tin, see if, you should pat it and make it a hard surface, or is that going to get too hard and it'll break? Do you want it to be soft so it moves? So it was a lot of strategizing before we were even allowed to open the tin and go at it.
Yeah. So they hand us these tins. I remember we're moving. I can feel the sand in my hand now, like moving the sand around, putting our knees in. Some people were laying down on their stomach. I think I was laying on my stomach and made a little hole for my tin. We get our cookies. The clock is on. It's go time. So all you see is all licking. I remember licking the cookie, looking at Kyle at one point. I'm just like,
it became really sexual.
Moment.
It's very intimate.
Very intimate moment that we shared. And we're licking the cookie, spitting on the cookie, doing all the things. And maybe halfway through, that time is burning. I know everything was going well for me. Like the first side of my triangle popped off. And then all of a sudden, my cookie cracks. My cookie, the top of my triangle, pops off. And all I remember, do you remember what I said?
No.
All I said was, oh no. And it was the most heartfelt, distraught, oh no I've ever had. And this is what I remember clear as day, y'all. I'm looking at my thing, it cracks. I look up at, the first person I look up at is Kyle. And Kyle looks at me. Yep. Y'all. And when I say I love Kyle, we got so close so fast. Kyle instantly, I'm gonna tell him, y'all. Kyle instantly got tears in his eyes, instantly. And I was just Kyle, I was all I was worried about was Kyle, y'all. I was Kyle, just keep going. So my thing goes off. I'm I'll fall out to the ground, and my dead body is there, and I can each one of my alliance starts to make it through, get through. You talk about that for a second.
I mean, it went from try not to break the cookie to calm down and just finish.
Yeah.
It was a complete emotional and shift of mindset, right? Because I was so focused on getting through the game with you that as soon as you were taken out of the equation, it was all right, well, now it is what it is. Yeah. So let's just try and kind of recoup.
Yeah.
Stop trying to beat the clock, because I never expected, you practice this at home.
I'm
this is anyone's game at this point, so I'm not going to rush it. If I can beat the clock, that's what's going to win this. It's not going to be, who can get it done the fastest. That didn't matter. It was just who can get it done in this time. So I really had to kind of take a step back, get my emotions in check. And, my mind was racing on past the moment of the cookie. I was damn, what am I doing the rest of the game without Justin?
Yeah. Yeah.
I just kind of I had to get back to reality,
It was wild. I just remember I remember my dead body laying there, and I think some of my blood squirted over on different people. And I just remember Kyle rubbing my dead body, he rubbed my shoulder. It was the nicest, it's okay. And then he went out. So that was my time in the game. And I think that was a big, like you said, shift for you in the game. Because it was we're going to bed every night, and the people around us or the alliance that we made may not be here in hours. You know what I mean? So you go back into the dorm after all of that. Catch us up from there. Were you just like, did you need time to recover? Were you?
Yeah, so my game kind of flashed before my eyes because I had seen you as a huge physical player,
Yeah.
big socially as well, and we complemented each other. So as you were taken out of the game, it was like, yo, like, what do I do from here?
Yeah.
Right? Like now I need to readjust, reevaluate, but I was not in the mood to talk to anyone. Like I didn't want to speak to anyone. Like I didn't talk to anyone in the alliance. Production came up to me trying to get some private interviews. I shot that down, I think, twice before they were like, nah, look, you got to come do it.
Yeah.
But like I was just like, I was done. Like I didn't want to talk to anyone. I was in my zone. I was in my own head. Took off my jacket, put it over my eyes, tried to go to sleep. Like I wasn't happy.
Yeah. Did it losing me? Did it feel like an actual loss? Like, oh yeah, really cool. Yeah. Because the next,
you also have to take into account, like, yeah, you're not in the game anymore, but it's like you're also going back to the States while I'm still in the game. So like, I didn't know when I was going to talk to you again. I didn't know, really anything. Like, am I ever going to talk to you again? You know what I'm saying?
We didn't have each other's contact information. Like, it was like when someone was gone, it was like they're dead. Like,
we weren't allowed to. Production would have let us. Like, we couldn't talk literally until now. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
And so, I remember Kyle, I was like, I don't need to find anybody else on social media but Kyle. Like, that's the only person. And I remember I found his wife. And like I hit his wife up, and I was like, "I love your husband. Like he's out. Like tell me and all that stuff."
Yeah.
And we got back, but I love you, Kyle. So that happened. You get past that, all the emotions. I think it's becoming more and more real for everybody.
Yeah.
And then they bring out a telephone.
Yeah, I mean they bring out the phone. Well, before they brought out the phone, I think because I think that was like 2 or 3 days after you had left, right? So like there was a gap in there where we were kind of in limbo as to what was going on.
Mm-hmm. Again, they told y'all nothing. Like
they told us nothing. They just kind of sprung things on us.
Mm-hmm.
And the alliance, the corner, like we just kept getting bigger for some reason. Like Rob was
getting bigger before I left. That's when Aurora kind of came over.
Yeah, Aurora came over. Darius came over. What's his name? That cop from New Jersey came over.
Dan. Was it Dan?
Was it Dan?
It was Dan. But it was weird because like we were cool. We had a good time. Like we'd just be hanging out in each other's beds. And I think it attracted an energy. But then people would start sitting around your bunk that never sat there before.
Yeah.
And then you're like, nah, y'all stop talking. People are around. Like you're always kind of in game mode. But yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, no, the alliance just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And then when we did, because we did bed shifts. Every time someone got eliminated in the games, they would take a bunk down. And it would kind of be like, oh, like you want to be the last one laying in the last bed. And that's how you know you're the winner. You get a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
But we started kind of playing musical beds. And and that's when I got connected with Mikey. And
okay, yeah. Now, Mikey, I have check out my interview with Mikey because he's going to be on the show also. I'm also jealous of Mikey because Mikey, I'll say he filled my shoes after, and I'm okay because he was with my friend. But
so Mikey became my guy. He became my dude. Like we had one conversation, and I was like, "Yo, like we're gonna ride this to the end." He said, "Absolutely." Okay. And then we were just attached at the hip.
Okay. And you trusted him, you felt good about him, all that stuff.
Yeah, like it was just like the conversation that we had was more like us just like messing around. Like we were just like saying jokes, making each other laugh to the point of tears. Like it was like a short, like 5-10 minute conversation. It wasn't like a prolonged thing. And then that turned into, yo, come sleep in this bed next to me. Yo, like let's go grab food. Like, yo, let's go to the shower room. Like we did everything together. We maneuvered together. We talked game together. We talked about our home life. Like we got super personal, and it just became like my ride or die final two in the game. Yeah. And we even told each other, we were like, yo, like if we go out, we're gonna go out taking each other out. You know what
You
I'm
all said that.
Huh?
You all had said that.
Yeah.
Really?
So we said that from the jump because our goal was to be final two.
Oh, gotcha.
So we were like, yo, the only way you're going home is by my hand, and the only way I'm going home is by your hand.
Mm-hmm.
We figured we'll make it to final two, and then we'll fight it out. But until then, we're gonna do our thing. So we had, and his social game was incredible because he was connecting with everyone from other countries, from Australia, Ireland. I was really connecting with a lot of people from the States, a few people from the UK. But his
together.
Yeah, and it's just like the protection that he brought to the table was greater than the protection I brought to the table. In the event there was like a vote out or anything like that. But what I brought to the table was the game strategy and actual heavy hitters that if we needed them, like they had us.
Yes.
So I had a better social game in regard to like bringing in people who could actually benefit like game wise, and then he had a better social game in the aspect of it was a broader type of relationship that he was building, and he was building it more on the side of trust and friendship and loyalty. So if it came down to, hey, we need to vote someone out, my name and his name was never in the mix.
Which was essential. I think it was essential to the game. Absolutely. You had to have the social component of the game was so strong. You had to have that.
Absolutely. Even if a vote didn't become a thing, you know, you had to pick teams.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, do you want to pick a team of someone that, you know, you've never spoken to or that you think is cocky, or do you want to pick someone that you know is going to have your back regardless of, you know, what's going on, and they're going to put 110, 120% into any game that they're playing with you?
That's what you want. Yeah. So that happens, you know, the phone booth comes out. I don't think, were you guys really involved? You see this phone booth come out. Are you like, I'm not touching that thing?
I sat in that booth. I sat up in the bunk, and I watched people run up to that phone booth. And then the first person got a reward. I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. So that was pretty cool for them. Second person got a reward. I was like, oh, that's dope. Brings again. I was like, maybe, nah, I'm not doing it. Third time picks it up, he's been eliminated. I was like, oh, damn, dude.
So you were just watching that. You were just like,
I wanted no part of it.
Okay, got you.
I wanted no part.
Why did you not want any parts?
So after the first twist, right?
Yeah.
Where it wasn't a game that you got eliminated. It was something that Netflix had said, here, do this, volunteer for this. Yeah. You know, as soon as they laid out that platter that ended in someone getting taken out of the game,
yeah,
like, damn, like this is really risky.
Yeah, so, you never know. Yeah.
Yeah, so everyone in the corner came to an agreement that we're gonna play it safe. We're not going to take unnecessary chances. So that was kind of our game strategy with anything that Netflix was like, here, do this. We were like, like you do that. Like we're staying here. Like I wanted absolutely no part of that phone.
I don't want to juice oranges. I don't want to clean the bathroom.
I'm okay laying on this freaking bunk bed, blowing green lint from my nose because we're in a warehouse.
Right. It's fine. That is.
I'm cool with that. I've learned to accept this. This is my life now, and like this is just what it is.
So that all happens, and then y'all go back into the White Room, and I think this is the beginning. And check out our interview. We're going to do an interview with all of the Corner Alliance, but we go back into the White Room. Everyone's thinking it's going to be tug of war at this time.
Ooh.
What was the confusion? Because this was the beginning of the dissension of the corner for a little bit.
Yeah. So let me run you through that. Because that was a huge turning point in the game. And it really got under my skin with how everything played out. So if you watch the original series, you know that the order of the games was written on the walls of the dorm. So we figured the same, right? So we would walk around the dorms multiple times, making sure we didn't miss any games, missed any details. Then the chronological order that was going on the walls was the next game was supposed to be tug of war. So we walk into the White Room, and they're like, hey, numbers 1 through 6, pick a line. This will be your team. They don't tell us what the game is.
Mm-hmm.
We've already had the discussion, our alliance, that we are riding this together. If one of us gets eliminated, all of us gets eliminated. Like, that's it. We're in this together. We're out of this together. We're rocking this out together. So as soon as we walk into this white room, I see Dylan go over here, Melissa go over here, Rob go over here. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Mm-hmm. So they're filling lines 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, and there's no one on line 5. Mm-hmm. So me and Mikey were like, you know what, screw this, we're going to start our own line. So I go start line 5.
So were you not talking to them? Like, where are y'all going? What are y'all doing?
Oh, I couldn't find them.
Oh, okay.
Like, oh, screw this. I'm starting my own line. As soon as things settle down, I'll just bring them over to my line. Mm-hmm. So we start our own line, and I can't remember the specific number of people that were supposed to be in each line. Mm-hmm. But after everything was in line, we were shy 3 people. Uh-huh. So our line was short 3 people. And the announcer lady comes over the intercom, and it's like, everyone that has blah, blah, blah amount of players in your line, take a seat. And my line's the only one standing up. And then they say, you have 60 seconds to fill your line. Yeah.
Well, and as you know, we think that when things are not done the way they want them done, you die. Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like, this is where it got a little hot for me, is because we were 3 short. Mm-hmm. And where was Dylan, Melissa, and Rob? Like, what are they doing, right? So we're sitting in there, and they're not even looking our way. Mm-hmm. Me and Mikey are screaming, yo, get over here. We're about to be eliminated because we're short 3 people. Where are my 3 people? And they're not looking.
Alliance, right?
They're not looking, and it's counting down from 60 seconds. Counting down. Mm-hmm. And I literally told him, I said, if I get eliminated because of you guys, karma's going to come back and get you.
You said that?
Yeah.
I didn't know this, y'all. I didn't know my poor little corner was doing this. But go ahead.
So thankfully, we didn't get eliminated. Mm-hmm. Thankfully. But
it went all the way down. Y'all didn't have
all the way down to 0. No one came to the line. We were still short 3. Okay. But it still screwed us because we had a disadvantage. We had to play a game with 3 less people, thinking it's the board. And we didn't have the most athletic group. Like, I'm not a big guy, you know what I'm saying? But like, I was the biggest guy in the line. Like, we were not, you know what I'm saying? Like, we were a small group.
Mikey got size to him.
Mike, yeah, but we were a small group. You know? It was not, dude. It was bad. We had a huge disadvantage. Yeah. So we're sitting there, and me and Mike, we're chirping. Mm-hmm. Like, we're giving them shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mikey, Melissa, Rob, and Dylan, like, we're just chirping them hard. Uh-huh. And then Dylan's group was the first group to leave. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, Rob and Dylan's group was the first group to leave. Mm-hmm. And then it was just Melissa. So Melissa got a lot more of our
rage,
if you will.
Anger, yeah.
So she knew that we were mad.
Yeah.
I don't think Rob and Dylan fully understood how upset me, Mikey, and Ned were. Mm-hmm. So
shout out to Ned. Shout out to Melissa. We love you, Melissa.
Shout out the whole corner, man. We did our thing. But anyway, yeah. So we go play the game. It's not tug of war. So that was a huge sigh of relief.
Cool. Y'all walk in and it's Warships.
Warships. Oh, that's. I'm gonna backpedal real quick. That's one thing about this show, that it was like, it's anyone's game, man.
It was fair. It was
all luck. Yeah. There was no nothing. There was a couple like eliminations, like maybe 1 or 2 that involved like your social game. If you had a bad social game, you were gone. Mm-hmm. But the games themselves, like, it was luck.
Yeah.
It was all luck. Mm-hmm. But it was a sigh of relief knowing I didn't have to pull a rope with Rob and Brad and Chaz and all these freaking
huge dudes. Yeah.
On the other side, like, I would have just let go. Like, they fell, we win. But so that was a sigh of relief.
Okay.
Me and Mikey sat in the 2-person boat.
Y'all were like together. Like, we are in this. I love it.
We had the conversation. If I get eliminated, he's eliminated, and if we make it to the end, like, we're going to be the reason each other go home. Like, that was like our thing. Like, we didn't want to play the game without each other at that point.
Okay.
So thankfully we make it through.
Yeah.
It was a very, very intense game because every single square around our boat got hit.
Yeah.
Not our actual boat itself. Like there was one square that wasn't hit next to the boat. Every other square got hit. So it was scary. But so we end up surviving, and then we go back to the dorm.
Yeah.
And Rob and Dylan see us walk through the door, and they get super hyped.
And they're like, "Yo, you made it! Yeah,
let's go!" They're like jumping up and down. Yeah. Like Rob jumps and like hugs me, and I just kind of like nudge him off. I'm like, "Yeah, bro, like, cool." And he's like mad salty.
What's that?
And I'm like, "Nah, bro, like we're good." And then he tries to do it to Mikey. Mikey, I don't remember what he said because I was like a little further away. But he's like, "Nah, bro, like get off me. Like we gotta talk." And Rob like got pissed, and he was like, "Oh, like I saved you guys a bunk. Like if this thing that we have going on is done, like let me know. I'll give it to someone else. Like I'm not here for that. Blah blah blah." And then we're like, I was like, "Yo, when Melissa gets back, we'll have the conversation. I'm not having it with half of the group here. Like everyone has to be here." So Melissa comes back through. She knows what's up.
And it's crazy that all of y'all split up and all of y'all made it through.
Yeah. Again, it was fate. Like that was zero talent involved. It was just sit there and hope you don't die.
Hope you don't blow up. Yeah.
So Melissa comes back into the dorms.
Warships took out a lot of like people, like Brighton, and it took out a lot of heavy hitters in the game. Okay, go ahead, my bad.
Yeah. So Rob goes up to Melissa and he's like, "Yo, like Kyle and Mikey are pissed," and she's like, "Yeah, I know." So we end up all going into the corner. And we're having a conversation, and me and Rob get a little loud with each other. We're getting into it, and I basically told him, I was like, "Yo, like you're a coward. Like you're sitting here saying, oh, we're gonna ride this out together, and then the second you feel like we have a physical disadvantage, you bounce and go to the bigger guys." And he goes, "Well, I told myself that when I walked into this game, I was going to use as many people as possible to further my game." I said, "So this isn't a real alliance. So what you're telling me right now is that you're a snake and that you were just using me for my strategy."
Yeah.
And he kind of like sat there for a minute and processed it. And then he got hot again. I got hot again. We started going back and forth. I was like, "You know what? This is done. Like, I'm not playing this game with you. Like, it's finished. Like, I'm not doing this no more. Corner's done. I'm just going to ride this out with Mikey and Ned. Y'all do your thing. I'm done." And I went up to my bunk and I went to go to sleep. And then production came up to me again, trying to get an interview on it. And I was like, nah.
Back.
Nah, I'm done. Like, you only come up to me when stuff goes sideways. Like, come up to me.
Don't wait for me.
Like, I just played Warships. You didn't come up to me, but I'm like fighting with one of my best friends, and you're like, "All right, can we talk about it?" Like, no.
Petty.
Come on, like leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. But then Rob came up to me. He woke me up, and he was like, "Yo, like regardless of what just happened, bro," he goes, "Go do that interview." He goes, "Go talk to production, talk it out. If you still feel the way you feel now, the alliance like we'll be done. But like I don't want bad blood." So I got up, I did the interview.
Alert from low battery.
Talking it out gave me kind of time to reassess what had happened and kind of reevaluate the situation. But we didn't get right back together after that. Like I had a conversation with Rob. I was like, "Yo, we're good, but like you play your game, I'll play mine," type of situation.
Okay.
So like we were solid. Like I wasn't gunning for him, he wasn't gunning for me. It was just kind of like, "Yo, like we'll just play your game and I'll play mine."
Each other. Yeah.
Yeah. And then 2 days later, we ended up coming back together.
What made you guys ultimately come back together? Was it like, "I actually love you, man, come back"? Like what did that?
I think it was Jack in the Box.
Okay, so let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's go, Jack. Well, before Jack in the Box, there was a voting game that took place, right?
I don't know. The voting might have been before Warships.
Okay, got you.
But so that was really insignificant to my game and to the Corners game. We kind of just because we sat far back in the line, and by the time we got up there, it was already kind of decided. Like the numbers were already there. So it was very insignificant to what we were doing as an alliance.
Okay. So now let's talk about the infamous, for you specifically, Jack in the Box. Like, I heard about this after the fact, way after when we talked and all of that good stuff. And my mouth is still on the floor. So what you didn't know, nobody knew what was coming, but what happened?
All right. So at this point in the game, tensions got really high with all the alliances, right? Because there was a handful of us in there, a handful of alliances, and
yeah,
the corner made the agreement that we're not going to participate in anything Netflix just hands out us, right? Like that's not what we were going to do. Like we weren't playing that game. But then it got very tense in the dorms.
Yeah,
and it started becoming like who was the alpha alliance.
Sure.
So yeah, so rewinding back to the bus drive to red light, green light, me and Dash, we had that agreement that, like we were going to help each other out on like a game level, but not like align with each other type situation. So we, Dash comes up to us that morning and is like, yo, Darius, Jesse, TJ are all kind of talking bad about your alliance and saying that they're going to take a shot at you guys.
Dash did that?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So Dash was stirring pots, I found out later on, after the fact. But he was saying that to our alliance. He was saying it to their alliance. And it just created a lot of tension and hype that was unnecessary, right? So then the lady from the heavens comes on the speaker and is like, everyone,
players,
come to the middle of the room. So we were like, all right, bet.
Heart drops through your butthole every time you hear something.
We all line up in the middle of the room, and she said that we need 4 players to volunteer for a game. And we were all like, nah, like we're not doing this, like we're all whatever. And Jesse steps up.
Yeah.
I don't know what came over me. Maybe it was what Dash was telling me. Yeah, like Jesus took the wheel, and I was just like, done. And Mikey's grabbing my jacket, like pulling me back. Rob's pulling my arm down, and I'm like pushing them off. And I step up.
Like caught up in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, because so what was going through my head was Dash just told us that they were coming for my people, and that they were coming for Dash. And Dash was one of my biggest sources of information that I wasn't aligned with, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So in my head, I'm like, like if they're gonna get if they're gonna get an advantage, I want to get an advantage.
Sure.
If he's gonna get eliminated, like I'll fall on my sword. I'll get eliminated as well. But like I need to level the playing field somehow.
Why not? Yeah. Okay. He pissed you off. Yeah.
Yeah. Not so much Jesse, because me and Jesse. No, Dash didn't piss me off because it was like he planted the seed in my head that brought to my attention that alliance was coming for us.
Gotcha.
Right? So it wasn't that he pissed me off. It was that he was giving me information that might not have been 100% accurate.
And you know what? So in doing these interviews, I found out that Darius and Dash, so I don't think Dash had an alliance, right? So I think Darius told Dash, you can join our alliance. But Darius did not tell his alliance that he was going to bring Dash in. So when Darius went to his alliance, say, let's bring Dash in, his alliance was like, no, we don't want him here.
Well,
so then Darius has to
make more sense now. Like,
yeah.
Makes so much more sense.
Yeah. So then Darius went back to Dash and was like, yeah, you can't be in our alliance. So Dash goes to you and is like, they're talking about you. That's what happened. And it worked.
100%, because the game ended up being Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
Where it gave you either you get eliminated or you can eliminate 1, 2, or 3 players. And my Jack in the Box was you get to eliminate 1 player, and guess the 1 player I eliminated.
Well, how did you pick Darius, though? How did you pick Darius versus anybody else in the alliance?
Because Darius was in my eyes, he was the face of the alliance.
Okay, not TJ, not Chaney.
Nah, so they all played like a leadership role, but Darius he was like water, man. He was fluid. He was able to go into any conversation. He was able to relate to anyone. And I had a conversation, and I was already boys with Jesse. And me and TJ had that moment.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. It's all coming together. It's all coming together.
So me and TJ had that moment. And after I eliminated Darius, TJ comes up to me and he's like, yo, like, He goes, I don't agree with what you did. He goes, I respect the shit out of that game. So
wait, hold up. Take us back to your iconic speech. It's now the iconic speech of he's cutting heads off snakes.
Yeah.
Take us back to that. You get up, you walk on stage, and run that back for us.
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't want to, like, if I got an advantage by taking a chance that I never thought I was going to take, right? So I didn't want that to go to waste. So I wanted to eliminate one of those 4 because of the information that Dash brought to me.
Now, did the corner know? Did you tell the corner you had just gotten this information?
From Dash, yeah, they were privy to that. But this is right after the tug of war debacle.
So y'all still are not like on.
We got Rob and Dylan not feeling safe at all.
So Dylan, check out my interview with Dylan, because Dylan says, he was like, I wasn't sure that Kyle was not going to pick me. He did say
they did not feel safe. And I'm not going to lie to you, like, there was something in my head that I was like, I could take the shot at Dylan. I could.
That would have been.
But that would have been the most emotional decision. Yeah. And it wouldn't have been logical, because look how much we helped each other throughout the game.
True.
Like, that would have hindered my game. Like, it would, like, that decision would have been my downfall.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because even though, like, we had a rocky couple days because of things that transpired from playing the game, like, he was still my boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He still had a relationship.
Yeah.
He was still looking out for me. So what kind of friend, what kind of player would I be the first opportunity where I'm on a pedestal that he's not on, that I shoot him down? Like, it wouldn't have been.
And what kind of person? Because I also feel like our character as people are evaluated.
And that wouldn't have sat right with me, regardless of how it would have been shown on television or how Dylan would have felt. Like, that to me doesn't matter. It's how I would have felt about it. I would have felt terrible, because hindsight's 20/20, right? So looking back on it now, I'm happy I didn't make the decision.
Yeah.
But if I would have made it, like, I'd be kicking myself right now, knowing what I know now.
Yeah.
So
you get up there and you start talking. Yeah. Did you know what you were going to say? Because it was very poetic.
I didn't. I just kind of let it flow, right? So Dash had just gotten eliminated. Yeah. Jesse eliminated Dash.
Correct.
So in my head, I'm like, everything Dash said is true. If it wasn't true, why would that alliance get rid of Dash?
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like, that just confirmed it. So now I need to take one of them out. Yeah. One of those 3. I have to. There's no other choice. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at them. They're standing up in the bunks. And I'm waiting for my turn to come. And TJ is zoned in.
Yeah.
Cheney, right?
Yeah.
Cheney zoned in.
Yeah.
Darius.
Feeling safe, feeling secure.
Feeling himself.
Yeah.
Feeling himself. Like, nothing's going to touch him. And that got under my skin a little bit. I was like, oh, dude, like.
You don't even care?
This information came to me. You know I know this.
Yeah.
You know I know this. And then you're going to, like, that whole group's going to say, oh, no, that's not true. He's spreading rumors. And then you're going to eliminate the dude and then expect me not to take a shot?
Yeah. No.
And feel safe?
No.
So that was what solidified it. But what led up to it
happened very quickly, I imagine.
Yeah. But what led up to it was, again, Darius was water, man. He was able to have any conversation with any group. Mm-hmm. He was able to insert himself into any type of scenario. Mm-hmm. And he was like a quiet killer, right? Mm-hmm. He was a big dude, so he would have done great in physical stuff. Yeah. He had a fantastic social game. Yeah. I didn't get rid of him for any other reason other than, out of everyone in that group, he was probably the biggest threat, other than TJ. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't do TJ like that because of night 1. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, if you want to kill the snake, you got to cut the head off. So I'm going to cut the head off the snake. And I pointed to Darius, whatever his number was.
And so Darius at this point is like, la, la, la.
Yeah. I lose
it.
She lost it. He didn't even realize what happened. still in La La Land. He doesn't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I say his number. TJ's face drops.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse's on stage with me. He looks over at me.
Yeah.
And then Cheney turns around and he's sitting there like leaned up on like on the bunk. And then he goes and looks at his number and realizes it's him.
No.
Like he didn't realize it until like a solid like 7 seconds after I said it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so after that, TJ came up to me and was like, "Yo, like I don't agree with it, but that was a great game move." And then Cheney comes up to me, full blown tears. She goes, "Yo, we gotta talk."
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Production, they all needed a moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was a very emotional conversation because that was her boy. That was her best friend. That was her ride or die.
That was your Justin. Yeah.
That was like you leaving, like someone taking you out or someone taking Mikey out. Like that would hit me at my core. So we sit on the bench by the water fountain and we're talking and she's like, "I just need to know why." And I explained the conversation I had with Dash. And a few other people had confirmed it as well. And she goes, "I just want to let you know." She goes, "None of that's true." And I was like, "Look, like, she goes, well, I was like, "Look, with all due respect, like, it doesn't matter. Because, like, obviously you're not going to say it's true. Like, you were his right hand. Like, y'all were best friends. Like, it doesn't matter what you say. Like, respectfully, like, I've heard it from multiple people." She goes, "It's not true. Dash is a shit talker. Like, he's running his mouth." And, like, she's, like, bashing Dash. And I was like, "Look, at the end of the day, I made the game move that I felt was going to secure me and my alliance the most. Whether the intel was proper or not, in that moment and in this moment, I feel it was the best move for me to make. And I want you guys to know we never have any conversations about coming after you. We have zero beef with any of you. I actually love TJ. I get along well with Jesse. Like, I have zero problems with anyone over there. But and you would have never heard Dash come over there saying we had problems with you guys. But for him to come to us and say that you had problems with us, that was concerning. And maybe he was stirring the pot, but I wasn't going to take that risk."
So then Darius' downfall was colluding with Dash.
His downfall, I believe, was making too many promises he couldn't keep. Basically, I feel like that was just from what I've heard.
And ultimately, Cheney respected you for your decision in the end.
I think so. I do. Because we ended on a good note. You know, we hugged it out at the end. You know, she didn't flat out say, "Hey, that was a good move," or "Hey, you know, I forgive you," or anything like that. But the conversation ended cordially. We hugged it out, and then we did have multiple conversations throughout the game. We didn't work together or nothing like that. Like, it didn't become like a friendship, but we definitely, we definitely conversated a lot more after that happened than we ever did before.
Sure. So all of that, and you see the emotionally charged conversation that you guys kind of have, and you see that you guys go through that. All of that happens. Well played, by the way, friend. Well played. Well played. I was like, that's my guy. So all of that happens. Then I hear a couple of days go by of nothingness. And then they're like, "Hey, do you guys want to have a picnic?"
Yeah, so the chore, so people got picked for a chore, and the chore was oranges. Peeling oranges, juicing oranges, and no one knew what that was alluding to. Which, being in a normal mindset, thinking back now, obviously it's going to be some type of something, right?
No treat without a trick. Yeah.
Happy Halloween. God. But, so we're sitting around later that day. They say, "Players, we're going to reward you with a night off." We're all like, "Oh, hell yeah, blah, blah." And they're like, "Your reward will be announced later this evening."
Okay.
So they didn't bring out dinner. Around dinner time, they said, "Your reward is a picnic."
Okay.
Grab a buddy, have a picnic.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, "Oh, hell yeah."
So pause. Because we're looking back as we see this on TV. Everyone's yelling at the TV like, "How do you not know this is marbles? How do you not know?"
They told us we were having a night off. Okay.
But weren't you, and I guess to make it real too, is like you guys, at this point, you guys have been in there like almost like 2 weeks, right?
Yeah,
Like
almost 2 weeks in, we're malnourished. We haven't seen the sun or taken in fresh air in 2 weeks. Like we were just excited to just relax.
You
Not
hadn't
eat
eaten anything good.
not eat porridge, not eat
Boiled
or freaking frozen peas. They were giving us like good food.
Yeah.
So they were like, line up, grab your picnic baskets. We were all like,
so you were just hyped. Did you hear anybody saying this could be marbles, or you were just like, me and Mikey, let's go?
Nah, so me and Mikey were like, all right, cool, night off. Let's just eat together. Like, we'll vibe, we'll chill. So we get in line, and then we hear people starting to like speculate. And me and Mikey were like, oh shit, yeah.
But you had already locked in, because you had to lock in who you were gonna do it with.
Nah, so you weren't locked in until you sat down with your basket.
Got you. Okay.
So me and Mikey were wheeling and dealing with people trying to get them to switch players, but no one wanted to switch because they already had made that move.
Oh, so you did speculate, but then it was too late.
It was while we were in line, people were moving and switching, and we were trying to get people to switch with us, and they just wouldn't do it.
Gotcha.
So we got screwed.
Gotcha.
But that was before we knew it was marbles. So we were like, you know what? Maybe it is just a picnic. Maybe they're giving us a treat, So we get our picnic basket, we lay out the blanket, we put it down, and they're like, all right, like start taking your food out and you can eat. So we're taking the food out, we're eating, we're doing our thing. And then I think it might have been Dylan or maybe Ned. We just saw them like their body just like drop.
Right. And
everyone was like, what? Like, what happened? And he picked up and held the bottom of the basket.
Oh, my God.
And he goes, it's a false bottom. There's marbles in here.
Oh, my God.
We were all like, no freaking way. So we open it up. The marbles are in there. The second we see that, we're trying to switch partners again.
Yeah.
So the mom and son duo were So they were having their picnic together. And me and Mikey were like, yo, like, this isn't easy. Like, why wouldn't they swap with us?
Yeah.
We're pitching them to switch with us.
Uh-huh.
They refused.
Which is still kind of crazy to me because it's like you both have a chance. And I mean, I guess I understand from a game point, they could guarantee that one person goes through or have the chance of both people going out.
Man, like, we pitched everyone. Dude, we even pitched people who speculated in line that it was marbles, and it was two people who didn't like each other playing each other, just being like, yo, you already don't like each other, just freaking switch.
Yeah.
No one would switch. No one
but
would
then people also were trying to align with people maybe they thought they could be, just all that kind of stuff going on too.
I'm a bit of a unit, so yeah, I get why people didn't want to play with me. But
swole out here, bro. Swole. That hand-eye. You were a cheerleader. That hand-eye coordination.
All right, so let's fast forward. Let's talk about that for a minute. Oh my God. So we're trying to figure out what game we're gonna play.
Okay.
And I told him I'm not out for blood. Like, I'm not gonna play a strategy game, and I'm not gonna play a physical game. That's just gonna be 30 minutes of me going after you, you going after me. And he said, I agree.
Okay.
Let's do closest shot to the wall.
Okay.
One and done. And to assure it's one and done, we're going to wait till the clock has 10 seconds left.
Okay. So it's not, we can't change our minds on it.
Can't change our minds on it.
Okay.
How
much time are we going to have on the clock?
I think 20 minutes.
First off, what was the set like? I didn't even ask you what that set was like.
It was like a maze.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
Was that your favorite? Because it seems like everyone who made it to Marble said that was like by far.
It would have been my favorite if I didn't get eliminated. Now I hate it. I hate it.
That's the stupidest
set. The sand wasn't even Brazilian sand. It was like, it was from the dollar store.
Home Depot sand.
Home Depot sand. It's ridiculous.
So, okay. So, sorry. So you have that time. You said we're going to do one and done.
Yeah.
We let the clock drain.
So we did 2 practice shots.
Okay.
And when I tell you, my marble could not have gotten closer to the wall. Both of the practice shots.
Okay. And what did Mikey's do during the practice shot?
He was off by like 3 inches one time, 2 inches one time. Like he was close. But when I say mine was kissing the wall,
Okay.
I mean, you couldn't put a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Both times. So then we spend the next 15, 18 minutes just talking.
So how was that? But that's a big deal. How was that 15, 18 minutes knowing that one of you guys is going home? How was that time?
It was really emotional.
Yeah.
Really, really emotional. So we spent about 15 minutes just talking. Wife and kids, our time in the game. And then we spent 3 minutes before the last 10-second countdown kind of smack talking each other.
Okay.
Right? Trying to get the other one like yo, like Mikey, I love you, bro, but like I'm sending you home. Like I love playing this game with you, but like you're not winning. I am gonna send you home, brother. Like I love you, but like you're gonna get to see those kids earlier than you thought. Like we were having
the game came back in for you guys.
That kind of conversation, because again, like we had the discussion when we first aligned that I'm gonna take you out, you're gonna take me out. So it was kind of poetic that this became that moment.
Yeah.
But on the same note, it was like, yo, like I didn't want to do him dirty. So what I wanted to do was have a real emotional time with him that I can remember our gameplay with. But then I also wanted to kind of get under his skin and him get under my skin. Okay. So we didn't take it easy on each other on that last 10-second shot, right? So the time comes to shoot the marble, and I was practice shooting like this. The time came and I shot it like a beer pong ball.
Why did you do that, Kyle? I
think it was just like the rush of the countdown.
Yeah.
Because it was like, wait for the last 5 seconds. We're going to count down from 3 and shoot. And then I think when the 10-second came and I was like 3, 2, 1, and I think I just like naturally grabbed it like this and it slipped because my hands were sweating. We were under studio lights, like a lot of pressure.
And the weight of $4.5 million is on your hand.
Absolutely. So I go to shoot it and my thumb pushes it and it just like pops out of my hand and it literally lands maybe 2.5 feet in front of me. And we were like maybe 10 feet away from the wall. Like it
you have to try. You went first?
Dude, like I shot and went like this. Like that's how short it went. And we shot at the same time. And Mikey's honestly couldn't have been a better shot. Like there was maybe like this much between his and the wall. Like his was a beautiful shot.
Even if. Okay, got you. It was a
shot. Beautiful shot. I take nothing away from Mikey. He won that game fair and square, but production kind of tried to get me to say that, or not get me to say, but they tried alluding to the idea that I threw it to him. And
because it looked so bad.
Because again, I got back to my interview and they're like, "Oh, so like you threw the game to Mikey?" I was like, "No, absolutely not." And they were like, "Oh, but like you kissed the wall." Your 2 practice shots, and then the one that actually counted, like barely went anywhere. Yeah, I was like, sweaty hands, bad luck. Like I didn't throw it. Like I tried.
All the things. My family.
Yeah, and I was like, I wouldn't do that to Mikey. Like Mikey would be like upset if I threw it. If I threw the game to him, like he would have lost respect for me as a competitor. Yeah, like, I would have never done that. Yeah, but I could, thinking back on it, like I could see how it could be perceived that way. But like, that's not the case. Like I went 110%. My hands were sweaty. I was rushed, and it was just it was a bad shot in the moment. But he won fair and square, well deserved.
So that happens. What is like the moment following that right away? Like, are you, because y'all had that moment, the emotional moment, then you had the where y'all were talking crap, and then you're out.
We both
just like that, it's all over.
We both broke down in tears. Yeah. Like the second we both realized what happened, because Mikey saw it too. He saw that it was a slip and it wasn't a good shot. Man. Yeah. But we ran it down, so there was no redo, and I wouldn't have wanted to do a redo because that's not what I agreed to. But as soon as he realized what happened and I realized what happened, my heart sank, my body went numb. Yeah. I just started crying. As my squib pops and I go to drop to the ground, he like grabbed me. and like held on to me, like we were both crying. And then he put me down, and he had to walk around because we did it like from inside like a porch of a house.
Uh-huh.
He walked around, and they told him he had to pick up his marbles to give to the guard. So he goes on his knees to pick up the marbles, and he just drops on all fours, just bawling.
Oh, and we see that, and that's what we see. Yeah.
Just he's devastated. I'm devastated.
So all those emotions we're seeing are raw. Those are real. That's all.
That wasn't like this is gonna make good TV. Let's do it. It was like a genuine in the moment. No one could control it. It happened. Yeah. You know, every bit of emotion that you see that I had on camera, whether it was tears, laughter, anxiety, stress and game talk, like that's all 100% authentic, 100% genuine Kyle.
Yeah. I love you, Kyle. But that's how you are as a part. Kyle in the game, Kyle out the game. Kyle is Kyle. And like what you see is what you get. Kyle is the biggest heart. Kyle is also the biggest mouth. Kyle is the biggest, all of that. But that's what I love about you. So you go through this whole crazy process. Two questions. So what was it like out of the game and like getting back into the real world? Was that tough?
It was a difficult transition when I got home. I definitely was used to always being on guard of something happening. I didn't really know how to not be super emotional anymore because I had everything back, right? So like I had everything, it was taken away abruptly, and then it was given back faster than it was taken away. So my body and my mind didn't really know how to adjust to that. So I found myself for at least a month in situations where they were supposed to be happy moments, and I was just like stone-faced, right?
You were like numb, yeah.
Yeah, like I was like numb to reality, and then coming back to work, like I run a real estate company, so like I talk to a lot of people, I train a lot of people, I deal with a lot of money, and it just got to the point where I started delegating a lot of my responsibilities to a lot of my people on my team or a lot of people that work for me. And I'm just like, yo, like you guys handle this for a little bit. Like I'm going to focus on kind of getting back into the swing of things. Like it was tough, but I'd say for the first, honestly, probably month and a half coming back from London, like I was happy to be back. I was functioning. Like I was present with my kids, like personal life didn't really change. Like I was still present, father, I was still present in work, but just what was going through my mind in those moments, it was very different than I was used to. Like I wasn't my upbeat self. I was just very monotone.
So you were present at work, present at home, but you weren't present with yourself.
Yeah, correct.
Got it.
I felt like an actor living my life. I was playing the role of Kyle, but I didn't feel like Kyle.
How did you get back to Kyle?
I started focusing on me more. Started going to the gym a lot more often. Okay. I stopped drinking. Okay. So I just started kind of trying to live a healthier life and focusing on things that were better for me, better for my kids, and better for just the bigger picture of what I want out of life.
Yeah. So that leads to my final question is, what was the biggest takeaway from doing this crazy experience? I think everyone, their life has been changed in some way. What was the biggest change, and what was the biggest takeaway that you learned maybe about yourself?
That I'm a lot mentally stronger. That's huge. I feel like I learned that I can handle a lot more mentally than I expected myself to. That's number one. And number two is it's easier to kind of cop out of difficult situations than it is to face them head on.
Really? Yeah.
Because in the show, like there was a lot of difficult situations that like you couldn't just be like, oh, I'm not doing this.
Yeah. You had to face it.
You had to face it. You had to deal with it. You had to maneuver around awkward situations and bring positive light to bad situations, or else, what are you doing this for? Yeah. So it was a lot of mental and internal growth that came from the show.
And I'm sure you didn't go into it expecting to come out a little bit of a better person?
No, I went into it thinking I was gonna
Come out rich.
come out 4.5. I'd have been a menace to society if that was the case.
Oh my God. See, everything happens for a reason. But you also said something too, how you had to focus on yourself more, which I feel like as a man, as a father, as a parent, you can often put yourself last. And it sounds like maybe you're being more present with them, but in turn being more present with yourself.
My whole life, it's always, not because it has to be, but because I've always preferred it to be. I always take the backseat, right? Like I will not eat a piece of food until my wife and kids are fed. I won't spend $1 on myself until my wife and kids are taken care of, right? And the stress behind that, obviously takes a huge toll. Especially, I had kids at 17, so I've been in this role since I was 17 years old, where my wife didn't work; she was a stay-at-home mom. I'm a 17-year-old supporting a woman and a child, so I had to deal with that before I was able to deal with myself. But now I'm kind of at the point where just because I do things for me doesn't mean I take away from them, right? And I might have to do things on like an odder schedule, like I go to the gym at 4 in the morning, right? Because I want to take time away from being with the kids. Or I like to golf. I'll golf. My wife's not working, so like I'll go golf while my wife's at work or my kids are at school, so I'm not taking away from the weekend, right? So once I kind of learned how to maneuver around actually doing things that like for me without taking away from them, it's weight off the shoulders.
I love it. And then on top of that, you got a Justin out of it. So,
Absolutely. That's the best part. All right, let me change my answer. Best part about I got out of Squid Game was Justin. That was it.
Mikey. Justin. Listen, bro, thank you so much. I know for me, the biggest thing is a lot like you. I learned a lot about myself. I came into this game, I said, I'm going to be authentically myself, embracing my sexuality, embracing who I was. And people like you made me feel, even though I lost my family, I gained a whole nother family when I needed it the most. And I will always thank you for that, guy.
Absolutely. I love you, man. I'm here. I'm always going to be here for you. You're my boy.
My brother from another mother. Guys, will you come back to the show, Kyle?
Maybe.
Okay. Brother, let everybody know where they can find you, man.
You can find me on Instagram at Kyle Christensen _, or you can look up Blue Realty of Fort Lauderdale on Google and give me a call. Cell phone number's on there.
There you go. Like I said, y'all, my name is Justin Stephen Ford, author again of the Diverse Picture book. Typically, we're here talking about children's literacy, diversity, inclusion, but we're also talking about inspiring people doing inspiring things like Kyle, like myself, and like y'all. So click, like, subscribe, all the things. And until next time, you're just in time for story time. Say bye, Kyle.
God bless.
See y'all later.